The Life of Whitney Houston, The Untold Story. Imagine a voice so powerful it could echo through the halls of history, yet so fragile it could break under the weight of fame. Whitney Houston, the iconic diva with a voice like liquid gold, lived a life filled with dazzling highs and shadowy lows, from the glory of chart-topping hits and groundbreaking films to the whispers of scandal and the roar of controversy. What really happened to America's sweetheart? Was her pristine image a meticulous construct? And how did the queen of the music world wrestle with her private battles against public expectations? Buckle up as we peel back the curtain to reveal the hidden struggles and the stark realities behind Whitney Houston's luminous facade. This is a journey through triumph, love and heartbreak, a story you thought you knew, but never like this. Whitney Houston, a true icon from the very beginning, was born to the sound of music. Her mother, Cissy Houston, was a renowned soprano who sang with legends like Aretha Franklin and Van Morrison, and even toured with Elvis. Whitney's cousin, Dionne Warwick, was already a pop star with hits like Walk On By. From her mother, Whitney inherited her stunning voice, and from her father, John, who managed her career later, she got her good looks and determination. In the aftermath of the Newark riots, the Houstons moved to East Orange, New Jersey when Whitney was just 4. Known for her shyness, young Whitney would often be seen tightly holding hands with her classmates, head bowed. Her godmother, the singer Darlene Love, remembers young Whitney running to the corner store to fetch fruit for her, showing early signs of her charm. By high school, Whitney had grown into a beautiful, popular teen. Her family's home, complete with one of the few neighborhood pools, became a local hangout. Her talent was unmistakable, especially in the church choir at Newark's New Hope Baptist Church, where her mother directed the music. Whitney once described the experience of singing in church as electrifying, akin to the rush of the Holy Spirit. Whitney Houston's musical journey began with more than just gospel tunes. Aretha Franklin shares a memory from their first encounter. "Cissy brought her to one of my recording sessions," Franklin recounts. "She was around 9 or 10. I think Cissy had instructed her to be very quiet because she didn't say too much after that. She was just very quiet and very attentive." By the late 70s, Cissy Houston's solo career was waning, and she ventured into disco music. During one of these sessions with disco producer Michael Zaga, a backup singer fell ill. Cissy suggested that her 14-year-old daughter Whitney step in. Zaga initially thought it was a joke, but Whitney, clad in her white and blue school uniform, took the mic and perfectly delivered the vocals Zaga taught her. Zaga was stunned. "I almost fell out of my chair," he recalls. Whitney's performance was so stellar that Zaga gave her a significant role in his disco track Life's a Party. Even as a teen, Whitney dabbled in rebellion, like wearing mismatched socks to her Catholic school. She took her role seriously in the studio, though, even as her mother kept a tight leash on her professional aspirations, until after high school. Meanwhile, Whitney began a successful teen modeling career and was eventually featured in magazines like YM and 17. Whitney's first steps into the spotlight often came during her mother's solo performances at clubs, where she was given a chance to shine briefly before being reminded that it was her mother's show. This mix of background support and front-stage moments shaped Whitney into the star she would become, all under the watchful eye of her family, who wanted to ensure she was ready for the big time. Arista Records A&R representative, Griffith, caught wind of Whitney's talent at one of Cissy's shows. Impressed by her natural ability, Griffith commented, "I had worked with Aretha, Minnie Riperton and Phoebe Snow, so to see Whitney incorporate all of what they had at one time just freaked me out. She was a natural, it flowed so easily." Encouraged by Griffith, Arista's Clive Davis attended one of Whitney's showcases in Manhattan. Davis was blown away by her rendition of The Greatest Love of All, a song he had commissioned a decade earlier. "I was stunned when she did The Greatest Love of All," Davis noted. He found the decision to sign her straightforward. Signing her was one of those no-brainers. Despite Davis' quiet demeanor, unlike his frantic excitement over other artists like Marvin Gaye, his interest was piqued. Clive wasn't jumping crazy like when Marvin Gaye was free and he was calling every 5 seconds. "Have you heard back?" recalled Roy Lott, a vice president at Arista. Davis decisively outbid Elektra to secure Whitney's signature. She signed with Arista in 1983. Whitney, dressed casually in a Levi's sweatshirt and jeans, appeared as a work in progress. Just a regular kid, Lott reflected. Not squeaky clean, but a regular kid. While everyone recognized her vocal prowess, the expectations for her debut were cautious. Talent agent Ben Bernstein, tasked with arranging her tours and appearances, noted that initially, everyone would have been thrilled to sell a few 100,000 albums. Davis meticulously developed Whitney Houston's career, dedicating over 2 years and nearly $400,000 to perfect her debut album. He played a pivotal role, personally selecting all the songs. Roy Lott explains, Clive would gather material and send her a cassette of songs. And Houston usually agreed, often responding, "That sounds great." She was keen to reach a broad audience and trusted Davis's guidance, adopting stage changes like wearing wigs, a decision she made herself according to Lott. Houston quickly captivated those she worked with. Robbie Buchanan, a pianist, recalls how after recording Saving All My Love for You in Los Angeles, even the musicians were smitten, with bassist Nathan East playfully proposing to her. Her producer Walden remembers her professionalism during the How Will I Know session in New York, where she impressed everyone and casually displayed her confidence in the studio. Released in March 1985, her debut album, Whitney Houston, became a defining example of crossover success. It launched hits like You Give Good Love and How Will I Know, each climbing to #1 on the pop charts. Griffith notes gospel was the basis of her gift. You put pop on top of it and boom. As she began her second album, Houston's demeanor shifted. She became more decisive, preferring to record without the usual crowd of musicians around. A change noted by keyboardist Preston Glass. Walden, who produced most of the tracks on her second album, Whitney, was struck by her confidence, despite the potential for a sophomore slump. She reassured him, saying, "No. If they loved me the first time, they'll love me now." Her second album, released in 1987, continued her success with upbeat pop R&B tracks and heartfelt ballads, all hitting #1 on the charts. Her appeal was broad. Men admired her, and young women like Christina Aguilera found inspiration in her strength and voice. Aguilera reflects, "I first saw her in the I Wanna Dance with Somebody video. I was instantly drawn. She represented a female who was strong and had a strong voice, and that appealed to me as a young girl." Despite her public persona, Houston faced pressures. She occasionally sought moments alone to smoke cigarettes and expressed a desire to explore different musical styles. Stephen Supporter, involved in some of her early videos, observed, "She was smarter than people took her for. She wanted to discover her gospel roots early on, and more themed music." He recalls discussions about diverse musical explorations inspired by artists like Linda Ronstadt. In 1989, at the Soul Train Awards, Whitney Houston faced a pivotal moment. Nominated for Best R&B Urban Contemporary Single, the announcement of her name was met with boos, hinting at backlash from some in the African-American community who felt she wasn't black enough, a criticism that deeply affected her. Don Iyenner of Arista recalls her confusion and hurt as she'd grown up in the church. She would look at us and say, "What do they mean I'm not black enough? I've been in the church my whole life." To address these critiques, Houston's third album, I'm Your Baby Tonight, aimed for a more soulful image and sound, incorporating producers like L.A. Reid and Babyface. During a photo shoot under the Brooklyn Bridge, Houston surprised everyone by riding a motorcycle, showcasing her private rebellious streak. That same year, Houston met Bobby Brown at the awards. Brown, a rising star from Boston's Roxbury projects, initially seemed indifferent to Houston, but her curiosity about his disinterest led to a relationship. Despite initially rejecting his marriage proposal, Houston eventually fell in love and they married in 1992. Despite their contrasting public personas, Houston identified a common background with Brown, both coming from urban projects and strong family backgrounds. She later described their relationship to Oprah Winfrey as crazy love. Their wedding, a lavish affair at Whitney's New Jersey estate, drew a star-studded crowd from the music world. On the surface, they appeared as the quintessential power couple, both thriving in their careers and basking in the spotlight. However, behind the veneer of glamour lurked a marriage marred by turmoil. Constantly under the glare of public scrutiny, their relationship became fodder for tabloid gossip. Headlines were rife with tales of marital discord, allegations of infidelity, and struggles with substance abuse. Bobby Brown's legal entanglements only compounded their challenges. His brushes with the law, including charges for battery, DUIs, and drug possession, were well documented. Despite the storm clouds looming over their union, Whitney remained steadfast by his side, offering unwavering support. Their union bore fruit in the form of a daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, born in 1993. However, parenthood couldn't salvage their troubled marriage. After enduring 14 tumultuous years together, Whitney initiated divorce proceedings in 2006, citing irreconcilable differences. Throughout their tumultuous journey, Whitney stood as Bobby's staunchest advocate. Despite the mounting legal troubles and public scrutiny, she stood unwaveringly beside him, attending court appearances and professing her love openly. However, this loyalty exacted a toll. The relentless media spotlight and the strain of Brown's legal battles weighed heavily on Whitney. Her public persona began to fray, with rumors of substance abuse swirling and her once glowing image dimming. Houston's film debut in The Bodyguard was a critical turning point. The film wasn't expected to be a hit, but Kevin Costner's suggestion to include Dolly Parton's "I Will Always Love You" proved transformative. During the soundtrack production, Whitney Houston told producer David Foster, "They were witnessing greatness." The song soared to massive success, propelling the soundtrack to phenomenal sales, drastically boosting Arista's profits. Following The Bodyguard, Houston continued to face personal and professional pressures. She made 2 more films, Waiting to Exhale and The Preacher's Wife, and returned to music with the edgier 1998 album My Love Is Your Love. Rumors of her volatile relationship with Brown and struggles with substance abuse intensified. During the album promotion, Houston displayed a defiant side, dismissing questions about drug use with the now famous line, "Crack is whack." Whitney Houston, the epitome of a diva with her resplendent voice and commanding presence, once dazzled audiences with her electrifying performances and magnetic personality. Her talent was undeniable, her confidence infectious, earning her adoration as a celebrated female singer. However, as the 90s drew to a close, a shift in Whitney's public demeanor became evident. The luminous star who once captivated audiences began to exhibit signs of inner turmoil. Her public outings grew increasingly erratic, marked by unpredictable behavior that left fans and organizers perplexed. Concert cancellations became a frequent occurrence, often announced abruptly, leaving disappointment in their wake. Even when she did take the stage, Whitney's once potent vocals seemed strained and faltering, a stark departure from her former prowess. Concerns about her well-being mounted as her physical appearance appeared noticeably more fragile and emaciated. Whispers of substance abuse swirled around her, amplified by each missed engagement and bewildering public appearance. The media, ever keen on spotlighting the struggles of the elite, shifted their focus from her musical prowess to her personal battles. Yet amidst the speculation and scrutiny, Whitney remained resilient. Even in her most challenging moments, her performances retained a glimmer of the passion and emotion that propelled her to stardom. Ultimately, Whitney Houston's transition from diva to the turbulence of erratic public appearances serves as a poignant reminder of the burdens and pitfalls that accompany fame. It sheds light on the relentless pressures faced by those in the spotlight, emphasizing the fragility of even the most luminous stars. In a heart-wrenching turn of events, the world was shaken to its core by the untimely departure of one of music's most illustrious icons. Whitney Houston, the voice that once soared to celestial heights, was tragically silenced in 2012 at the tender age of 48. The news sent shockwaves rippling through the collective consciousness, leaving a somber cloud looming over the realm of music. How could such a luminary, whose vocal cords had woven melodies of hope and passion, meet such a fate? The cause of her demise, revealed with grim certainty, was as chilling as it was unfathomable, a tragic, accidental drowning. But behind this harrowing revelation lay a deeper, more poignant narrative. It was whispered in hushed tones, spoken of in reverent murmurs. the spectre of addiction that had shadowed Whitney's life, casting a pall over her brilliance. Her struggles with substance abuse had been well documented, a tragic symphony of inner demons that plagued her despite her outward success. Yet amidst the accolades and adoration, she battled silently against the ravages of addiction, a solitary struggle that ultimately claimed her life. As the world mourned the loss of a once-in-a-generation talent, questions lingered, echoing in the caverns of collective grief. How could someone so gifted, so adored, meet such a tragic end? It was a lamentation that reverberated through the halls of music history, a poignant reminder of the fragility of human existence. Whitney Houston's life teaches us the weight of expectations and the double-edged sword of fame. Her voice lifted her to unimaginable heights, yet her struggles remind us that behind every spotlight there is a shadow. Whitney's story is not just one of talent and triumph, but also a poignant reminder of the importance of understanding and compassion in the face of human frailty. What can we take away from Whitney's story? Perhaps it's the courage to face our challenges, the strength to be true to ourselves, and the wisdom to know that every star struggles no matter how brightly they shine. Now we turn to you, our viewers. If Whitney Houston has touched your life in some way, drop a W in the comments below. Let's celebrate her legacy together. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the heart and soul of one of music's greatest legends, don't forget to like and subscribe to Iconic Inside. Gladys Knight is now about 80. How she lives is sad. Are you ready to uncover the true story behind Gladys Knight's illustrious facade? Known as a monumental figure among Motown's female soul artists in the late 60s and early 70s, Gladys Knight's voice captivated millions. With the success of Gladys Knight and the Pips, her familial ensemble from Atlanta, she became an icon. Yet behind the curtains of her celebrated career lies a reality far from the glamour and spotlights. Gladys Knight, the Empress of Soul, navigated through life's unyielding challenges, including the heartache of multiple failed marriages. Today we take you behind the scenes to explore the depths of Gladys Knight's world. It's not as rosy as you might think. Having spent almost 80 years battling personal and professional storms, her journey is a testament to her resilience. Some stories will shock you. Join us as we delve into the complexities and tribulations that have marked the life of this legendary artist. Are you curious about Gladys Knight's early days? Born in Atlanta on May 28, 1944, Gladys Maria Knight grew up in a household with her parents, Merrill Woodlow Knight Sr., a postal worker, and Sarah Elizabeth Woods. She shared her childhood with siblings like Brenda and Merrill Bubba Knight Jr., but also endured the loss of another brother, David Billy Knight. Her journey into music began in her formative years. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, Gladys found her voice singing in the church choir, where her natural talent began to blossom. Her remarkable vocals didn't go unnoticed, and at just 8 years old, she achieved a remarkable feat. On July 1, 1952, Gladys triumphed on Ted Mack's The Original Amateur Hour TV show contest, a momentous event that hinted at her future as a music icon. Gladys Maria Knight has etched her name in the annals of American music and entertainment as a celebrated singer, songwriter, actress, and entrepreneur. Her storied career, which stretches across many decades, is adorned with a plethora of awards and honors, testifying to her immense talent and contribution to the arts. As the lead vocalist of the familial ensemble Gladys Knight and the Pips, alongside her brother Merrill Bubba Knight and cousins William Guest and Edward Patton, she played a pivotal role in forging a musical heritage that continues to echo through the ages. In the heart of the bustling city, there was a voice that could stop time. Gladys Knight, they called her, and when she sang, the world listened. Her songs weren't just tunes, they were journeys taking listeners on emotional rides through love, loss, and longing. Midnight Train to Georgia, Neither One of Us Wants to Be the First to Say Goodbye, and If I Were Your Woman, these weren't just hits. With every note, Gladys Knight poured her soul into the music, her powerful vocals cutting through the noise and touching hearts. Beneath the glittering veneer of her illustrious career, Gladys Knight's personal odyssey was a poignant tapestry woven with threads of both bliss and sorrow. Throughout her life, she navigated the tumultuous waters of matrimony, committing herself to 4 marriages and embracing the role of motherhood to 3 children. At the fragile age of 16, life presented her with a profound challenge. She found herself pregnant, and decided to marry her classmate, Atlanta musician James "Jimmy" Newman. The shadow of tragedy loomed early when she endured the agony of a miscarriage. Despite the tumult, they embraced parenthood with the birth of 2 children. Their marriage, however, was besieged by Newman's battle with addiction, a struggle that tore the fabric of their family, leaving Gladys alone at 20. Remarkably, they remained married for over 12 years until 1973. Amidst the storms of their marriage, they joyfully welcomed a son, James "Jimmy" Gaston Newman III, into the world on August 13, 1962. Despite the challenges they faced, Gladys Knight made a bold choice. She decided to temporarily step away from her music career, retiring from the road to devote herself to raising their child. Meanwhile, the Pips, her family's musical group, pressed on with their independent tours. In November 1963, Gladys Knight and James Newman welcomed their only daughter, Kenya Maria Newman, into the world. Despite the joys of motherhood, Gladys felt the pull of her musical passion growing stronger. In the early 1960s, she returned to her recording and performing duties with the Pips, driven by the responsibilities of providing for her expanding family. Together, Gladys, James, and the Pips embarked on a new journey, leaving behind their old life and settling in Detroit. Their new home was in the prestigious Sherwood Forest neighborhood on Sherbourne Road, nestled in the heart of Detroit's West Side. But Gladys was not one to forget about education, ensuring her children received the best by residing on Lowell Avenue and sending them to a Catholic grade school. As their marital challenges lingered, Gladys Knight and James Newman faced a prolonged separation lasting 7 years. Eventually, in 1973, Gladys made the tough call to divorce James. Sadly, tragedy struck a few years later when James passed away, bringing closure to a tumultuous chapter in Gladys's personal journey. In 1974, following the trials of her previous marriage, Gladys Knight discovered love anew and tied the knot with Barry Hankerson in Detroit. Barry, the mastermind behind Blackground Records, later signed his talented niece R&B singer Alia to the label. Together, Gladys and Barry welcomed their son, Shanga Ali Hankerson, into the world on August 1, 1976. However, their marital bliss was short-lived, as their relationship encountered its own share of challenges. By 1977, the couple made the decision to move to Atlanta, while Gladys's musical group, the Pips, remained in Detroit. Unfortunately, their marriage hit rocky shores, leading to its dissolution in 1979. The separation sparked a bitter custody battle over their son, adding another layer of complexity to Gladys's personal struggles. Tragedy struck yet again in 1979 when Shanga Ali Hankerson was kidnapped. Distraught and determined, Gladys spared no expense in her relentless quest to find her son, pouring over $1 million into the search. Amidst the roller coaster of her personal life, Gladys Knight entered into another marriage in 1995, this time with motivational speaker Les Brown. Despite her hopes for a stable union, the challenges of life continued to weigh heavily on her relationships. Eventually, Gladys and Les Brown parted ways, their marriage ending in separation and divorce in 1997. Among the chapters of her storied life, one of the most difficult and lesser discussed is her battle with gambling addiction. This period, shrouded in mystery and struggle, offers a glimpse into the complexities behind the luminous facade of fame. The hidden turmoil. At the pinnacle of her career, while Gladys Knight was celebrated for her musical genius, she was grappling with a private turmoil that threatened to overshadow her professional triumphs. The Empress of Soul, admired by millions for her strength and resilience, found herself ensnared in the grip of gambling addiction. This addiction was not just a fleeting challenge, it was a profound struggle that spanned over a decade, revealing the vulnerabilities of an icon who seemed invincible. The catalyst of change, Knight's journey into the world of gambling began innocently enough, with casual visits to casinos. However, the thrill of the game quickly spiraled into an addiction that consumed significant portions of her time and finances. The turning point came when Knight faced the stark reality of her situation after losing $660,000 in one night at the baccarat table. This loss was not just financial, it was a profound wake-up call that prompted her to confront the destructive path she was on. Seeking redemption. The road to recovery for Gladys Knight began with the acknowledgement of her addiction and the decision to seek help. Her courage to confront her gambling habit led her to Gamblers Anonymous, where she found solace and support among others who shared her struggle. This step towards recovery was more than just an attempt to regain control over her finances. It was a quest for inner peace and a reclamation of her autonomy. A soulful quest for meaning. The spiritual odyssey of Gladys Knight began long before she reached the pinnacle of her music career. Raised in a Baptist household, spirituality always played a significant role in her life. However, it was her conversion to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS, in 1997 that marked a pivotal turn in her spiritual journey. This profound shift came after decades of soul-searching and personal evolution, reflecting her desire for a deeper connection with her faith. The Mormon faith and a new chapter Knight's conversion to Mormonism was influenced by her son and daughter, who preceded her in joining the LDS Church. This decision was more than a change of denomination. It was a heartfelt commitment to a community that she felt drawn to because of its emphasis on family, a core value that Knight held dear. Her baptism into the LDS Church was a moment of rebirth, symbolizing a new phase of spiritual fulfillment and personal peace. During a crucial phase of her career, Gladys Knight's son, Jimmy Newman, played a pivotal role in managing her affairs through his company, Newman Management, Inc. However, tragedy struck when Jimmy Newman passed away from heart failure on July 10, 1999, at the tender age of 36. His sudden departure left an indelible mark on the family. Jimmy was survived by his wife Micheline and their children, including daughters Nastasia and Gabrielle and sons Ron, Stefan and Sterling. This loss plunged Gladys Knight and her family into a period of deep emotional turmoil. In 2001, Gladys Knight embarked on a new chapter in her personal life by marrying William McDowell. Their union brought together their families, forming a large and tightly knit network. Together, Gladys and William cherished 17 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren, fostering a vibrant family bond. They settled in Fairview, North Carolina, where they made a meaningful connection to the community by acquiring the former Reynolds High School in Asheville. Transforming it into a community center, they underscored their dedication to serving and enriching their local area. Throughout her illustrious career, Gladys Knight continued to push the boundaries of her music. In 2013, she lent her voice to You and I Ain't Nothing No More, a track penned and produced by Lenny Kravitz, for the soundtrack of Lee Daniels' film The Butler. This song joined the movie's soundtrack, featuring classic tunes from various artists, with hopes for an Academy Award nomination in the Best Song category. The following year, in 2014, her album Where My Heart Belongs achieved a significant milestone by becoming her 30th top 40 R&B album, counting both her solo work and collaborations with Gladys Knight and the Pips. In an interview during that period, Gladys shared her aspirations for women in the music and entertainment industry, advocating for dignity and self-respect. She emphasized her commitment to dressing modestly for her audiences, urging others to do the same. What else can we say, other than she's an icon? What did Knight have to say about the world, outside of her lovely music? What are her thoughts on life, love, her craft, and much more? Let's dive into the 10 best Gladys Knight quotes. Nobody has a perfect anything. We don't have perfect lives. We're not perfect beings. Believe me when I say this. You can't please everyone in concert, even though I still want to. Someone always wants you to sing a song that isn't necessarily on your set list. Love is what makes the world go around. I know it's a big cliche to use, but it is the absolute truth. There is nothing else like it. I know that is what everybody is striving to feel. In relationships, in brother and sisterhood, and in all of the things that we aspire to have in our lives. I don't regret any decisions I've made in my life. I know those challenges that come up from time to time in life are our little learning tools, our little stepping stones. If we didn't have those things in our life, how would we learn anything? We would just be walking around like nothing. We need those obstacles in our life because I know one thing, I'm a much better person for them. Most people who ask me what's my favorite song expect that it's Midnight Train or Neither One of Us. But actually, it's always kind of been The Need to Be because of what it says. I love the way that song was written. I love the melody. I love everything about it. Well, I never danced with the Pips. They didn't let me dance. When I was on Arsenio Hall's show, he asked me about working with Kanye West or John Legend. I said I'd love to. I have a squash casserole that everybody, even my kids, love. I won't tell my kids how to make it. I had some great mentors as I was coming up and starting to sing so early. I've been singing since I was 4. I had people telling me how to preserve myself. How do you envision your mark on the world? And what meaningful experiences do you hope will define your journey? Engage with us by commenting below. Choose 9 if this story has resonated with you, or 0 if it hasn't met your expectations. Remember, your insights and feedback are invaluable as we continue to explore and share more stories that delve into the essence of humanity. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.